of achila ushtiya, eating and drinking. Says the Pediwetz, there's many different types of eating and drinking. He says there's the mutar type, which is permitted. There's no mitzvah, but it's permitted, eating kosher food. Then there's a mitzvah food. It's a mitzvah to eat. And there's a situation where it's asur to eat, where there's isur, it's forbidden to eat. And it says a person has to try as much as he can to eat for mitzvah reasons, right? So therefore he has to have kavanah. Why are we eating? We're eating in order to feed our soul, to go and to have power to go do mitzvot. Why do you eat? You say, Bor pri ha'etz or Bore pri yishkam? You have to ask yourself, why are you eating? You already came to the light learning, you saw sushi, but you had dinner already. But it's sushi. Chiyuv d'oraita to eat sushi every time you see it. It's a negative commandment from the Torah. If you see sushi, you don't eat it, right? So therefore, this is what a person can think, right? But it's not true. A person who already ate, he already nourished his soul, he has energy from mitzvot, why should he eat more? The Rambam says, all source of sickness comes from overeating. And then also, the Zohar tells us, when a person overeats, the power of the nourishment and the holiness, the sparks of holiness in that food, where does it go to? Sitra Achra. It goes to the other side. It goes to the Satan. It goes to Malchamavid. When you go and you eat food, only to go and just do it for the taste. You're not doing it to really feed your neshama. You're already full. So why eating more? For kaif, for pleasure. You know what this goes to? You're feeling Sitra Achra. And then all of a sudden, you have a harder time doing mitzvah later. You have a harder time connecting to Hashem later. It's because you fed Sitra Achra, and now they have a koach over you. Now you have attachment to you because you overate for pleasure reasons. So therefore, he says, a person has to try to eat as much as he can as for mitzvot, and when it's mutar, and not to overeat, and not to eat when it's not allowed. So he says also because there's kedusha, there's sparks of holiness in the food. The Gemara says that a chicken waits for a Tamid Chacham to eat him. Why? Because most of the time, the Arizal says, who is in the food? Gilgul, reincarnation, right? Person came back to this world, he has to serve a certain purpose, and he's in the chicken, and he's waiting till someone will do mitzvah with him. If someone does mitzvah with him, what's going to happen? He's going to go straight to Gan Eden. And his decree is, till somebody does a mitzvah with him, he can't go into Gan Eden. So he's waiting and waiting. Eat me, Tamid Chacham, please. Are you my tikkun? You're my tikkun. Oh, you're my tikkun. Oh, and he waits for what? Someone to eat and do mitzvah so he can go to Gan Eden. So then what happens? Who buys him? It's a guy who's a sinner. The guy's a sinner buys him. He eats him. And he doesn't do any mitzvah with him. He eats him and he goes, does the averot because of this chicken power he got. So then what happens? This guy has to come again and wait again till somebody does a mitzvah with him. So therefore he says, when you eat, you should eat from mitzvah. Why? Because you're helping somebody there get tikkun. And you should do it for a mitzvah. If you do something asur with this food power that you have now, you make the guy bechore bache come back again. So therefore, he says, that's why we know that by Yeshvo, it's a big deal, right? Ba'askara, make everybody make brachot, make bracha, right? Kiddush, after Kiddush, before Nitilat Yadayim, everybody says, Nishma, right? Everybody is Nishma for bracha. Therefore, what? What's the reason? It's because when you do this tikkun of uplifting these souls inside the food, this tikkun of sending them at the Gan Eden, you know, in the merit of this is who? In the merit of the person who passed away. It's a big zechut to somebody to Gan Eden and doing it for Le'u Nishmat of what? Not just this guy Le'u Nishmat, the person, the deceased. So therefore, a person has to try as much as he can to utilize the power of the food and the spiritual sparks inside of it. The souls are reincarnated for mitzvot. When you put the sugar in the morning, you don't know who's in that sugar. You don't know what the food you're eating, who's in there. So if a person has to try always to motivate himself to eat and do mitzvot. Eat when it's mitzvah and not to overeat for